Hello, YouTube. It's me, the Queen. See, it's ShotsCaller, and I'm here to show you something in Path of Exile that I think should be way more popular than it really is, or than it is. I think. I honestly, I'm not really sure because I don't go on Reddit or anything, so it could be very popular, and I'm just talking shit. But I think it's probably one of the strongest bow builds other than like Ziggy's build that you can do in terms of just pure damage. And that's using a DoomFletch's Prism. Now, DoomFletch is a bow. It's basically this, except it changes one small little detail. I think it's pretty low. I think it's like a level 27 bow. And it does everything you see there, except the only difference is between DoomFletch and DoomFletch's Prism is the gain 110 of bow physical damage as extra damage of each element. On the regular DoomFletch, that's gain 110% of bow physical damage as extra damage of a random element, which is fire, lightning, or cold. But with DoomFletch's Prism, it's fire, lightning, and cold. So instead of having 2 damage numbers, you essentially have 4. So this bow pretty much doubles your damage compared to DoomFletch. So the way it works is it takes your physical damage, but so if you have 100 physical, your attacks, like if one of your attacks is 100 physical damage, your attacks will do 110 lightning damage, cold damage, and fire damage. So it's like more than quadrupling your damage, which is pretty crazy. But the problem with this is the bow only has 24 to 68 physical damage. You can scale that, but scaling it isn't that much. Like you're much better off using a bow with like higher physical damage and then converting that to elemental damage and scaling it that way. But the way you can get this damage higher is by scaling flat fizz. Because you can essentially take the flat fizz on your gear and just put it onto the weapon and get your bow DPS or your bow physical damage that way. It scales off the bow stats plus the shit on your gear. To scale the flat fizz on DoomFletch higher, I'm using Meganord's Girdle, which is 5 to 15. I'm using this, I'm not even sure if this is the highest glove physical you can get, but I found these for like 1 or 2 chaos, and I'm like, I need flat fizz, I need resists. It doesn't have any life, but it has life regen, which is whatever. And I can craft life on it. These gloves are fine for me. For a chaos, why would I not? I have this ring, 7 to 15. I think you can go higher, I'm not entirely sure. But this ring does need to be replaced. This ring, 4 to 10. The flat fizz rolls can go a lot higher, but I needed the life, 76 life and all res, with 16 to fire and cold res. So I'm like, why not? It was pretty cheap. It was like, I think it was like 2-3 chaos. I'm like, it has the flat fizz I need, it has life and resists. I'm gonna pick this up. So I did. And then I have this, which gives 11 to 20 flat fizz I need. 15 to all attributes. I needed the int for something I'll talk about later. And it has resist. No life, unfortunately, but it has strength that gives life, and I mastercrafted flat life. And I'm using a drill neck, which gives 13 to 20 physical with bows, some life, attack speed. This is probably like one of the best quivers you can get if you're going pierce, because it gives projectile damage increased by arrow pierce chance. So this bow essentially has 100% increased projectile damage, which helps a lot because that scales with DoomFletch really well, and I'll explain that. But on top of all of this, I'm also using an Abyssus, which gives 40 to 60 physical damage to attacks, which is An unquality DoomFletch I think has 54 or something around there. So just using the DoomFletch and the Abyssus alone, minus everything else, is double. The only problem with Abyssus is that you have the increased physical damage taken, which hurts a lot, and you don't get the benefit from the melee crit multi, because you're not melee. And that's really the only two things I don't like about this helm, but the increased physical damage to attacks is pretty insane. And I'm only using this because I am armor based, because I'm also using a Lionized Vision. Essentially 6 links my main attack with Pierce, because I'm using Pierce. Yeah, so I'm scaling as much physical damage on my gear, or I'm getting as much physical damage on my gear as I can to scale the bow stat with elemental, and then scaling that elemental with weapon elemental. I have wed here. I don't have any wed on my gear, but I probably should. Like, perfect rolls on my rings would be flat fizz, life, resists, wed. These boots have really good resists. Now that I just looked at these now, 40 to lightning fire, 40 plus for lightning fire and cold. Or yeah, lightning fire and cold, but 15 life sucks, and it has move speed. Like these boots are really good, minus that. But you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Uh, Using all of these items to then pretty much put all of that flat fizz onto the bow, and then scaling the elemental damage with things like wed, and then I have increased elemental damage with weapons, increase elemental damage here. I believe I went increase elemental damage with weapons down here. And because you're going to be doing an insane amount of elemental damage, Inquisitor is pretty much the only option. Because you go Inevitable Judgment, which critical strikes ignore elemental resists, and you're doing so much elemental damage that it's essentially it's like you're doing true damage in League. It's like you're playing Vayne all the time, and you're just like one-shotting everyone. It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. Scaling the flat fizz and then having modifiers that scale physical and elemental, like slower projectiles or pierce, or well, weapon elemental only does the elemental damage, but the more elemental damage is what you want. But things like slower projectiles, 29% more projectile damage would scale the physical damage, which would increase the flat numbers of the elemental damage, and then it would also scale the elemental damage. So it's like it double dips. So it's absolutely insane. And Pierce does the same thing. And so does the projectile damage here, because Drill Neck would give 100% increased projectile damage based on my Pierce chance, and I would have 100% Pierce chance. So the physical damage would get 100% increased damage, and then which would increase the flat number of the elemental again, and then it would increase the elemental damage you do again by 100%. So it's just the way you can scale with this item is absolutely absurd. It's phenomenal, and I don't know why this bow does not see more people don't talk about it as much as I feel like they really should. The only thing that does not feel comfortable about using this bow is that you don't know your DPS, because for some reason it doesn't show the elemental damage you gain in your tooltip. So here it says my DPS is 4.1k and my physical damage is 540. Oh, because I'm using lightning arrow. Yeah, my physical damage is 540 and my lightning damage is... I'll use tornado shot instead, just so you can see the actual physical. So my physical damage is... What? Oh, it's... I'm a sped. Here, my physical damage is 455 to 913, and my lightning damage is 8 to 112. And I think that's from... I believe that... Well, that's only from this ring. Yeah, so I'm scaling 1 to 14 lightning damage into 8 to 112. So imagine scaling that physical number you see there, adding three more lines rather, lightning, fire, and cold, 110% of that physical damage number. That is my DPS. That's the numbers I'm doing. And then that's just like the flat numbers. Like that's not being scaled with WED, for instance, because the physical damage doesn't get scaled by WED, but the slower proj does. See, the physical goes down to 706 from 913. And look at the elemental too. Elemental goes from 112 to 87. But if I take off WED, the physical stays the same, but the lightning goes down. Put in WED, goes from 71 to 112. So imagine that number, that huge number. I'm gonna say 1,000 of each element being scaled with that. It's a pretty ridiculous number. It's quadruple. The tooltip, air quote tooltip, is quadruple that number there. So that's just scaling with the bow. Like, of course you could have a much better build if you... I don't want to say a much better build, but you could have similar DPS if you were to use, like, I don't know, like a Reach of the Council or Lionized Vision. Not Lionized Vision. Lionized Glare. I think that's the bow. Or like any other bow with like high flat fizz rolls. But you wouldn't get the insane elemental damage. Because I only scale... I only scale... This is the only physical damage node I have. I honestly think it might be worth to get more physical damage, like getting this wheel. Because I have such high numbers now that might be really worth. But I'm not sure. I have to do more testing about that. But the damage you get with this build is just insane. I'll show you in a dried lake here because my computer's not the best. I don't want to fry out. Good portal, bud. Don't want to fry out my video. So I'll just show you a little bit of the deeps. One thing I'll say is that this started with lightning arrow, but okay. First, I'll say this: I equip my auras. I have 2 auras linked. Look at the damage. All I did was equip Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, and my DPS just under doubled. That's not showing the numbers from the increased elemental damage from the bow, or the extra damage from the bow. It's like the damage here is just absurd. I'll use what do you call it, lightning arrow, because that's how I leveled this character, because lightning arrow is just absolutely absurd with Frostwall. That wasn't an attack. Cool. But as long as you crit, everything dies, because you're pretty much hitting them with true damage. Because they have no resist. So as long as you crit, sometimes you don't even have to crit, but as long as you do crit, everything will die. It's just, and especially with lightning arrow, you'll shoot in an area, and you'll walk up later on, and everything will be dead, because the 100% pierce chance it's like a wave of death rolling at your enemies. It's amazing. The only thing you have to worry about with this build is reflect, because you're doing such a ridiculous number of elemental damage. You're like, I one-shot it, and I didn't even use the cheese that I'm going to show you when I get the Vol. Because you're doing so much damage with because I'm doing so much elemental damage, reflect is pretty scary. Like, you can't go for an all-in on a reflect mob, and reflect maps are absolutely off limits because you will one-shot yourself. You can even one-shot yourself on physical reflect because you scaled your physical so high, or you gained so much flat fizz, and your crit, I don't even know what my crit multi is. I don't think it's that high. It's too 284. But you have so much damage that physical reflect hurts still. Because of the increased physical damage from abysses as well, the physical damage you take is more than it really should, but you can kill yourself on reflect. If you're playing a hardcore, I would not recommend abysses though, because you don't want to kill yourself. Like you would want to be more tanky. And abysses is nowhere near required. It's just I'm playing on standard, on the standard prophecy, and you want as much damage as you can get. So why not just go all in? So I got myself an abysses. But one thing I really liked with lightning arrow, which is why I prefer lightning. I prefer to call this a lightning arrow build over a tornado shot build, even though I do use tornado shot for maps. Is I might have hit Vol. Is the way Frostwall and lightning arrow work together is insane. As you saw there, I crit. And because lightning arrow and frostwall, the way it works is you shoot up frostwall. If you link it with spell echo, you shoot up 2 frostwalls, and you shoot, and it kind of like stuttered. I don't know if you saw that. Let's try it again. It stutters for like half a second, but anytime your arrows go through a frostwall, it procs the explosion / chain thing that lightning arrow does. Like I'll take off GMP here, so it shoots 1 projectile, but if I do that, it'll get hit twice. I crit, so you didn't even see his health drop, but it'll get hit twice because of the way Pierce works. Like you see, it should only be hitting 4 things, because it pierces, it hits as many as it hits. So like if there's 2 enemies here, each enemy will get hit twice, because the arrow will hit this guy, and then the explosion chain thing will hit the other guy, and then if the arrow hits that guy, it'll get hit again, and then the first guy will get hit again because of the way it works. So I'll try a frostwall here. You can't really. I didn't do it right. But yeah, no, it's just the way frostwall and lightning arrow works is just so busted that it should absolutely be changed. But they're probably not going to change it because why would they? And I kind of don't want them to, because it would make cheesing with bow builds less fun. I'm just running this map with just 1 fucking arrow, and it's working fine because you do so much freaking damage. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, I mean this skill, this bow with any bow skill is fine. Like I'll use a siege totem. I don't even know if that's what it's called. Where is it? Siege ballista. It's level 1. I think it's level 1. Yeah. And I'll see, like, just the bow itself has such high damage on it. You can use any bow skill, and it doesn't matter. Split arrow, shrapnel shot, ice shot, rain of arrows, doesn't matter. Only problem with rain of arrows is you can't use pierce, so you lose some of the why is it 2 Ps? That's troll. GMP and Pierce are the same little icon on the skill thing. Where'd my shit go? Whatever. It died. There. You see? Look at that damage. Look at that. Look at that beautiful damage. Whoa, it's shooting like lightning arrow thing. Well, that's bullshit. I should have bought the damn skin if it was gonna shoot the same thing. I would just use this. I'm tilted. But yeah, like, it just, the bow does so much damage. I want it to, yeah, there you go. It crit. And that's a level 1. I think, what's the base damage on it? 140. I don't know what it goes up to, but that 140 makes the damage of the bow be an even higher number than I've already said. But God, stop killing me! Stop killing my totem. I kind of want to try and use a build like this because it would take away the negative side of Abyssus and Reflect and all that, because I have one-shot myself on Reflect multiple times because of not paying attention, and switching this to a totem character would make it a lot safer. It's kind of fun. But of course as of right now the DPS is not there compared to what I've already shown, but just using a level 1 gem shows you that the damage is real. Like, a level 1 gem doing this is pretty crazy. I don't even know if the crit chance is that high. It's the same. Stop killing my totems, man! I'm trying to showcase this awesome skill, bro. I kinda like the totem thing. I'm not dying, so that's great. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a reflect mob before that one-shot, like the totem crit it and one-shot it, but the totem died because of the reflect. It's pretty funny. But I don't think the totem wouldn't show the one thing I don't like about the bow is that it doesn't show my tooltip, and bragging about your tooltip is like one of the most fun things you can do when making your own character, because I didn't take this build idea from anyone. I just saw the bow and was like, this bow, because I always loved DoomFletch. I'm like, you probably scale DoomFletch into a decent build. I don't think you can take it that far, but you can probably scale into a decent build. And then I saw DoomFletch Prism. I'm like, okay, that's kind of stupid, because the amount of damage you can get from that is insane. And I was absolutely right. The amount of damage you can get from it is insane. I just realized the Pierce gem is kind of wasted. It's not really wasted because it gives them more damage multiplier, but these shots 100% pierce anyway. That's funny. I want to get to Vol. It's probably gonna get one shot. I told him before he can even hit Vol, to be honest. Ah, stop killing my totem, bruh. Stop. Just quit it. Yeah, this is pretty fun. Imagine, and this is with one totem. Imagine having two. Imagine having two totems, or three. I don't think I can get three unless I use that one quiver that lets you have more totems out, but I feel like Drill Neck is essential because of the increased physical. I don't know what the bow or the quiver even gives. The quiver might be better, I don't know. All I know is that Drill Neck is absolutely amazing with this bow. Drill Neck is probably the only required unique I would say you need, and because of how easy it is to get, it's like probably the cheapest thing in the game. The cheapest good item in the game right now, but it's definitely required, and it's extremely easy. I think this bow, right? Okay, here's a reflect. Let's see if it attacks it. I want it to get one shot. I want to one shot itself. Yeah, there it go. It went. It hit it. It hit it and it one shot itself. Attack! There. You see? The totem one shot itself, and the boss. Like the suicidal totem pact. I love it. Oh man, this is great. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you took some notes and realized that if you're making a new character and you want to do a bow build, if you want to do an elemental bow build, pick up a DoomFletch Prism, pick up a Drill Neck, get your Flat Fizz, go Inquisitor, and just destroy everything up until tier 15, and you'll have a blast. Because Path of Exile is like one of the best games I've ever played. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.